When God chooses you and fills your life with His light, it transforms every aspect of who you are. This divine illumination is not just for your benefit, but also for the world around you. However, as you shine with God's light, it has a profound effect on the spiritual and emotional environments you inhabit. Your light does not merely brighten, it exposes. It reveals truths that many are not ready to confront. And in doing so, it creates a reaction. When people carry unresolved issues, unrepented sins, or hidden struggles, the light in you can feel invasive, even though you intend no harm. This is the essence of why your God-given light irritates the darkness in others. The light of God within you is pure, radiant, and undeniable. It doesn't need to be announced, it simply exists. Much like how physical light effortlessly dispels darkness, spiritual light works the same way. When you walk into a room, the atmosphere shifts. Not because of anything you say or do, but because of the spiritual presence you carry. This shift can make people uneasy. Those who have become comfortable with their shadows, whether intentionally or unknowingly, often find themselves uncomfortable in the presence of someone who reflects God's truth and holiness. Gladly glorified, amen. It's important to understand that this reaction isn't personal. It's not about you as an individual. It's about the spiritual contrast. Light naturally exposes what is hidden, and this can be unsettling for those who are not ready to face certain truths. Think about how our eyes react when suddenly exposed to bright light after being in the dark for too long. It's uncomfortable, even painful, until we adjust. Similarly, the light in you can feel blinding to those who are accustomed to spiritual darkness. This dynamic can manifest in various ways. Some people might withdraw from you. They may avoid conversations, dismiss your presence, or even seem cold and distant. Others might react more overtly, becoming defensive or critical. They might accuse you of being judgmental, self-righteous, or too good. In reality, these reactions are less about you and more about the internal conflict they feel. Your light acts as a mirror, reflecting back to them the areas of their lives they may not want to confront. One of the most challenging aspects of this experience is when it occurs with people you care about. Family, friends, colleagues, or even members of your spiritual community. You may find that relationships shift as you grow closer to God and allow His light to shine through you. While some will celebrate your transformation and be inspired by it, others may feel threatened. They might not understand the changes in you or the divine calling on your life, leading to tension or distance. This is where grace and discernment become crucial. It's not your role to force anyone to embrace the light or confront their darkness. That is God's work, and He does it in His timing. Your role is simply to remain faithful, to continue shining with humility, and to trust that God's purpose will be fulfilled through you. Remember, Jesus Himself faced rejection and opposition because His light revealed the true state of people's hearts. He was the ultimate example of how to walk in light amidst resistance. Your light also serves another purpose. It acts as a beacon for those seeking hope and truth. While some may resist or reject it, others will be drawn to it. They may not even fully understand why, but they will recognize something different in you, something they need. Your presence can plant seeds of transformation in their lives, even if you don't see the results immediately. This is why it's essential to remain steadfast in your faith and grounded in God's love. Walking in God's light requires courage and resilience. There will be moments when the reactions of others hurt, when their rejection feels personal, or when you're tempted to dim your light to avoid conflict. But remember, your light is not for your glory, it's for God's. Dimming it to make others comfortable is not an option. Your light is meant to shine, to guide, to inspire, and to glorify the one who placed it in you. In moments of doubt or discouragement, turn to God for strength. Pray for those who react negatively, understanding that their response comes from a place of pain or fear. Ask God to give you wisdom and compassion so you can navigate these situations with grace. Surround yourself with fellow believers who will encourage you and remind you of the importance of your life. Ultimately, the light in you is a gift from God, a reflection of His presence and power in your life. It is a privilege to carry this light, even when it brings challenges. Embrace it fully, knowing that every reaction, positive or negative, is a testament to the transformative power of God working through you. Your light is not just a blessing, it's a responsibility. A call to shine boldly in a world that desperately needs the hope and truth of God's love. Peace is one of the greatest gifts God bestows upon His chosen. It is not merely an absence of conflict, but a deep, abiding calm that transcends circumstances. This peace flows from a connection with God, rooted in trust, faith, and the assurance that He is in control. When you carry this divine peace, it becomes evident in your demeanor, decisions, and presence. But not everyone welcomes peace, especially those who have grown accustomed to living in chaos. For them, your peace can be unsettling, even irritating. It disrupts the turbulent rhythm they have become comfortable with, forcing them to confront the disorder in their own lives. When someone is in chaos, whether emotionally, spiritually, or relationally, it often becomes their default state. They may not even recognize the extent of their inner turmoil because it feels normal to them. Your peace, however, stands in stark contrast. It acts as a silent challenge. It acts as a silent challenge, exposing the unrest they've tried to ignore or suppress. This can provoke discomfort, defensiveness, or even hostility. It's not because they dislike you personally, but because your calm presence highlights the storm within them. For instance, think about how a still pond contrasts with a raging river. The stillness of the pond might seem unnatural or even eerie to someone who has only known the roar of rushing water. In the same way, your peace can feel foreign or unnerving to those trapped in cycles of stress, anger, or negativity. They may interpret your peace as indifference, arrogance, or a lack of understanding of their struggles. But in reality, your peace is a gift from God, a reflection of His grace working in your life. The dynamic often plays out in relationships, especially with those who are closest to you. You might notice that certain friends, family members, or co-workers react to your peace with irritation or frustration. They might accuse you of being too calm or not caring enough about the urgency of a situation. They may even try to drag you into their chaos, provoking arguments or creating drama to disrupt your sense of tranquility. Their actions are often subconscious, a way to bring you down to the level of turmoil they feel inside. But as someone chosen by God, you are called to maintain your peace, even in the face of chaos. Jesus exemplified this during His time on earth. No matter the storms around Him, whether literal or figurative, He remained calm, fully trusting in God's power and plan. In one memorable instance, Jesus calmed a raging storm while His disciples panicked. His peace not only reassured them, but also demonstrated the authority and stability that come from aligning with God. Your peace carries a similar authority. It sends a message that you are anchored in something greater than the circumstances of this world. It shows that you trust God's timing, wisdom, and provision. This unshakable peace is not only a testament to your faith, but also a witness to others. While some may initially react with irritation, others will be drawn to your calmness, seeking to understand the source of your serenity. To maintain your peace in the midst of chaos, you must remain rooted in your relationship with God. Prayer, meditation on His Word, and surrendering your worries to Him are essential practices. It's also important to set boundaries with those who try to disrupt your peace. This doesn't mean cutting people off entirely, but recognizing when their actions or attitudes are pulling you away from the stillness God has given you. Guarding your peace is not selfish. It is necessary for fulfilling your purpose and staying aligned with God's will. At the same time, remember to extend grace to those who struggle with chaos. Their reaction to your peace is often a reflection of their own pain, fears, or unresolved issues. Instead of responding with frustration or defensiveness, approach them with compassion. Pray for them, offer support when appropriate, and let your peace be a testimony to the transformation God can bring into their lives. Over time, your calmness may inspire them to seek the same peace for themselves. It's also worth noting that your peace will not always be understood or appreciated. The world often values busyness, conflict, and urgency over stillness and reflection. People may equate constant activity with productivity and see your peaceful demeanor as a lack of ambition or seriousness. But as a child of God, you are called to a higher standard. Your peace is not about conforming to the world's expectations, but about reflecting God's kingdom on earth. Ultimately, your peace is a powerful force. It disrupts chaos not to harm, but to heal. It challenges others to examine their own lives, to question whether they are living in alignment with God's will. And while not everyone will embrace this challenge, some will be inspired to seek the peace that only God can provide. By staying faithful, remaining calm, and trusting in God, you become a beacon of hope and a vessel of His transformative power. Confidence is a remarkable quality, especially when it originates from a deep relationship with God. It's not a product of arrogance or self-reliance, but a reflection of divine assurance. When God chooses you and sets you on a path of purpose, He instills a confidence that is unshakable. This confidence is rooted in faith, in knowing that He who began a good work in you will bring it to completion. However, not everyone can handle the glow of this God-given confidence. For those wrestling with insecurities, your confidence can feel like a glaring spotlight on their own fears, doubts, and inadequacies. When someone is struggling with insecurity, they often build walls to protect their vulnerabilities. These walls might look like bravado, excessive humility, or even constant criticism of others. Your confidence, however, has a way of piercing through those walls. It highlights their areas of self-doubt without you needing to say or do anything intentionally. Just by walking in the boldness of your calling, you become a mirror that reflects their internal struggles. This can lead to a variety of reactions, ranging from admiration to resentment. People who are inspired by your confidence will often ask questions, seek your advice, or simply observe how you carry yourself. They recognize that your confidence isn't rooted in worldly achievements, but in something greater: your relationship with God. These individuals may even be motivated to strengthen their own faith and discover the same assurance for themselves. For them, your confidence is a beacon of hope and encouragement. On the other hand, there are those who react negatively to your confidence because it disrupts their comfort zone. Their insecurities may cause them to feel threatened by your boldness. They might misinterpret your confidence as arrogance or pride, projecting their own feelings of inadequacy onto you. This often manifests in subtle or overt ways: criticism, passive-aggressive comments, or attempts to undermine your achievements. They may focus on your flaws, real or perceived, to diminish the shine of your success. One of the most challenging aspects of carrying God-given confidence is dealing with these negative reactions. It's natural to feel hurt or frustrated when others misjudge your intentions or try to bring you down. But it's essential to remember that their reaction says more about their internal struggles than it does about you. Your role is not to defend yourself or prove them wrong. Instead, continue walking in humility and trust that God will handle the rest. Your confidence can also expose societal norms and structures that perpetuate insecurity. In a world that often equates self-worth with appearance, wealth, or status, your God-centered confidence stands in stark contrast. It challenges the idea that validation must come from external sources. This disruption can make people uncomfortable, especially those who have invested heavily in chasing worldly approval. Yet, it also plants seeds of change, encouraging them to reevaluate what truly matters. Maintaining your confidence in the face of resistance requires a strong foundation in your relationship with God. Spend time in prayer and in His Word, reminding yourself of who you are in Him. Surround yourself with a community of believers who will uplift and support you. And when criticism or negativity arises, respond with grace and kindness. This doesn't mean tolerating disrespect, but it does mean choosing not to engage in unnecessary conflicts or retaliate in anger. It's also important to practice self-awareness. Confidence can sometimes unintentionally come across as condescending or dismissive, especially to those who are hurting. Make an effort to communicate with humility, showing empathy and understanding toward others. Recognize that everyone is on a journey, and some may be struggling to find their footing. By remaining approachable and kind, you can create opportunities for connection and growth. As you continue to walk in confidence, remember that it is a gift meant to glorify God. It is not about proving yourself to others, but about fulfilling the purpose He has placed in your life. Your confidence is a tool to inspire, uplift, and lead others toward their own divine potential. It's a reminder that true assurance comes not from our abilities, but from the one who empowers us. Ultimately, your confidence will highlight insecurities in others, not to harm them, but to challenge them. It serves as a catalyst for growth, prompting them to confront the areas of their lives that need healing and transformation. While some may resist this process, others will embrace it, inspired by the light they see in you. By staying rooted in God, you can navigate these reactions with wisdom and grace, fulfilling your calling while being a source of hope for those around you. Wisdom is a gift from God, cultivated through experience, reflection, and divine revelation. When you walk in God's wisdom, it becomes evident in how you think, speak, and act. This wisdom isn't merely intellectual, it's spiritual, a discernment that comes from aligning yourself with God's principles and truth. Yet, wisdom, especially when it is God-given, has a way of unsettling those who live in foolishness. Foolishness isn't simply about ignorance. It's a state of choosing what is convenient over what is right, what is superficial over what is meaningful, and what is fleeting over what is eternal. Your wisdom naturally challenges this way of thinking, creating tension and resistance. When people encounter wisdom, they are faced with a mirror reflecting their own choices and beliefs. Your ability to navigate life with clarity, grace, and purpose can make others question their own decisions. For those who have built their lives on shaky foundations, this reflection can feel uncomfortable, even threatening. It exposes the flaws in their thinking, the emptiness of their pursuits, and the instability of their values. While some may be inspired by your wisdom and seek to learn from it, others may react defensively, dismissively, or even antagonistically. You cannot control other people's reactions. One common reaction is ridicule. When someone's foolishness is challenged by your wisdom, they may resort to mocking or trivializing your perspective. This often stems from a place of insecurity. They recognize the validity of your insights but are unwilling to acknowledge it. By making light of your wisdom, they attempt to maintain their sense of superiority or control. However, their ridicule does not diminish the truth or value of what you carry. It only highlights their resistance to change. Another response is avoidance. People who are not ready to confront their foolishness may distance themselves from you, either emotionally or physically. They may avoid conversations that require depth, steer clear of situations where your wisdom is evident, or withdraw altogether. This avoidance isn't about you personally. It's a defense mechanism to protect their comfort zone. Your wisdom represents a challenge to the status quo of their lives. And for some, it's easier to retreat than to engage. Criticism is another common reaction. Those who feel threatened by your wisdom may become hypercritical, finding fault in your actions, decisions, or even your character. This is often an attempt to discredit you, to shift attention away from the truths your wisdom reveals. It's easier to attack the messenger than to grapple with the message. However, as someone walking in God's wisdom, your role is not to retaliate or prove yourself. It's to remain steadfast, trusting that the truth will stand on its own. For some, your wisdom will spark curiosity. They may ask questions, seek your advice, or engage in meaningful dialogue. These individuals are often on the verge of transformation, drawn to the light of your understanding. Your wisdom serves as a bridge, guiding them toward greater self-awareness and spiritual growth. This is where your patience and humility become essential. Wisdom is not about showcasing superiority, but about showcasing others and pointing them to God's truth. Living with God-given wisdom requires both courage and humility. Courage to speak truth in love, even when it's uncomfortable. And humility to recognize that this wisdom is not of your own making, but a gift from God. It's also important to approach others with grace, understanding that not everyone is ready to embrace wisdom. Some may be deeply entrenched in their ways, and change takes time. Your role is to plant seeds, trusting that God will nurture them in His timing. One of the greatest challenges of walking in wisdom is knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. Not every situation requires your input, and not every person is ready to receive what you have to offer. Discernment is key. Knowing when to share your insights and when to simply model wisdom through your actions. Sometimes your silent example speaks louder than any words ever could. It is also essential to guard your heart. The resistance and negativity you may encounter can be discouraging, but remember that your wisdom is not for everyone. Jesus himself faced rejection and opposition from those who could not understand his teachings. Yet, he remained faithful to his mission, focusing on those who were willing to listen and learn. Follow his example, staying true to your calling without being swayed by the reactions of others. Ultimately, your wisdom is not just a gift for you, it's a tool for building others up, challenging the status quo, and glorifying God. It will provoke a range of reactions, but each reaction is an opportunity for growth, either for you or for those around you. By remaining grounded in your faith and guided by God's Spirit, you can navigate these interactions with grace and confidence. Your wisdom, though it may challenge foolishness, is a light that leads others toward truth, understanding, and the transformative power of God. End of 26. Wisdom, especially the kind that flows from God, is one of the most profound and transformative gifts a person can possess. It transcends intellect, surpasses mere knowledge, and reflects a deep understanding of life's purpose and meaning. Godly wisdom is rooted in discernment, humility, and an unwavering alignment with divine principles. When you carry this wisdom, it shapes how you think, speak, and act, setting you apart in a world that often values superficiality over substance. However, the light of your wisdom can challenge and even irritate those who live in foolishness. This tension arises because wisdom and foolishness exist in opposition, and when the two collide, sparks often fly. This is just 5 remarks. Foolishness, in contrast to wisdom, is not simply a lack of intelligence. It is a mindset characterized by short-sightedness, self-centeredness, and resistance to truth. It often manifests as pride, impulsiveness, or an over-reliance on one's own understanding. People entrenched in foolishness tend to avoid introspection, preferring to operate in ways that serve their immediate desires rather than their long-term well-being. When they encounter someone walking in divine wisdom, it disrupts their comfort and challenges their way of thinking. Your wisdom becomes a mirror, reflecting the shortcomings of foolishness. This reflection can provoke a range of reactions. Some may feel inspired to seek the wisdom you possess, while others may react defensively or even antagonistically. This defensive reaction is often rooted in insecurity. Foolishness thrives in an environment where it is unchallenged, but wisdom brings light, exposing the flaws and gaps in foolish reasoning. For some, this exposure feels like an attack, even though your intention is not to harm, but to guide. One way this reaction manifests is through ridicule. People who feel threatened by your wisdom may try to belittle or dismiss your insights. They may label you as overly idealistic, out of touch, or self-righteous. This ridicule is a mechanism to protect their ego and avoid facing the truth your wisdom reveals. However, it's important to recognize that such responses are not a reflection of your worth or validity, but of their inner turmoil. Wisdom often pierces through facades, and those who are not ready to confront their own foolishness may lash out to preserve their sense of control. Code wisdom. Another common reaction is resistance. Foolishness resists change because it is comfortable with the status quo. Your wisdom, which often calls for reflection, growth, and transformation, can feel like a threat to those who prefer to stay as they are. This resistance might come in the form of debates, arguments, or outright rejection of your perspective. In such moments, it's crucial to remember that wisdom does not force itself upon others. It invites, it guides, but it never imposes. You can offer insights, but the decision to embrace them lies with the other person. Some individuals may respond to your wisdom with avoidance. They might distance themselves from you, either physically or emotionally, because your presence reminds them of the changes they need to make. This avoidance is not a rejection of you personally, but a way to escape the discomfort of self-examination. While it can be painful to experience, it's important to understand that this too is part of the process. Wisdom often plants seeds that take time to grow, and your influence may bear fruit long after the initial interaction. On the positive side, your wisdom will also draw people who are ready for growth. These individuals will recognize the value of your insights and seek to learn from you. Your words and actions may inspire them to pursue wisdom themselves, aligning their lives with truth and purpose. For these individuals, your wisdom is not a challenge, but a gift, a light that illuminates their path and helps them navigate life's complexities. As someone walking in wisdom, it's essential to remain grounded. Reactions to your wisdom, whether positive or negative, should not dictate your sense of identity or purpose. Your wisdom is not about proving yourself to others, but about fulfilling the calling God has placed on your life. Stay rooted in prayer and scripture, continually seeking God's guidance and strength. Let your words and actions reflect humility, recognizing that your wisdom is not of your own making, but a gift from God. In navigating the tension between wisdom and foolishness, patience and discernment are key. Not every situation requires your input, and not everyone is ready to receive what you have to offer. Sometimes, wisdom is best demonstrated through silence and example, rather than words. Allow your life to speak volumes about the power and beauty of godly wisdom. Ultimately, your wisdom serves a higher purpose. It challenges foolishness, not to condemn, but to awaken. It disrupts complacency, not to harm, but to heal. While some may resist, others will be inspired, and the seeds you plant will grow in ways you may never fully see. Trust in the process and continue to walk in the light of God's wisdom, knowing that it is a force for transformation, both in your life and in the lives of those you touch. When you are chosen by God, there is the distinct authority and presence that accompanies you. It's not something you manufacture or force. It is the Spirit of God within you that commands respect. Even those who oppose you or disagree with you cannot deny the weight of your presence. This This is because your spirit, aligned with God's will, operates on a plane that transcends human understanding. It exudes a quiet strength, unwavering confidence, and an unshakable faith that leaves an impression on everyone you encounter. This respect is not about fear or intimidation. It is about recognizing something greater at work in your life. When you walk in alignment with God's purpose, your actions, words, and even your silence carry a certain gravity. This divine influence often disarms those who oppose you. They may not like you, agree with you, or support you, but they cannot dismiss the authority that emanates from your spirit. It's a reflection of God's power working through you, and it demands acknowledgement. One of the reasons your spirit commands respect is because it is deeply rooted in integrity. People may question your beliefs or challenge your decisions, but when they observe your consistency and commitment to living a life of truth, they are compelled to take notice. Your integrity speaks louder than any argument you could make. It shows that your faith is not just a set of principles, but a lived reality, guiding every aspect of your life. This authenticity is rare, and even your opponents cannot deny its value. Another factor is the peace you carry, even in the face of opposition. When others confront you with anger, criticism, or hostility, your calm demeanor stands out. This peace is not a product of your own strength, but a fruit of the Spirit working within you. It confounds those who expect a reaction and often diffuses conflict before it can escalate. Your ability to remain composed under pressure is a testament to the power of God in your life, and it commands respect, even from those who may seek to challenge you. Your spirit also carries an unspoken authority that stems from your faith in God's sovereignty. You don't need to assert yourself aggressively or dominate conversations to be heard. Instead, your quiet confidence speaks volumes. This confidence is not arrogance. It is a reflection of your trust in God's plan and His ability to guide and protect you. People sense this assurance, and it often causes them to pause and reconsider their approach, even if they don't fully understand it. Your humility is another reason your spirit commands respect. Humility is often misunderstood as weakness, but in truth, it is one of the most powerful qualities a person can possess. When you are humble, you acknowledge that your strength, wisdom, and success come from God, not from your own efforts. This humility disarms those who might otherwise feel threatened by you. It shows that your goal is not to elevate yourself, but to glorify God. Even your opponents cannot help but respect this selflessness and sincerity. At times, your spirit will command respect simply because of the truth you carry. Truth has a way of resonating deeply, even with those who resist it. When you speak or act in alignment with God's truth, it carries a power that cannot be ignored. People may argue against it, but they cannot erase the impact it has on their hearts and minds. This is why your spirit, guided by the Holy Spirit, can leave a lasting impression, even in the lives of your staunchest critics. However, commanding respect does not mean you will always be liked or accepted. Jesus himself faced opposition, yet even his detractors could not deny his authority and wisdom. Similarly, you may encounter resistance or misunderstanding, but that does not diminish the respect your spirit evokes. Respect is not about universal approval. It is about the undeniable recognition of something greater at work within you. To sustain this respect, it is crucial to stay connected to God. Spend time in prayer, immerse yourself in His Word, and seek His guidance in all things. Let His Spirit continually refine and strengthen you. Remember that the respect your spirit commands is not for your glory, but for His. Your role is to be a vessel, allowing His light to shine through you and impact those around you. In moments of opposition, hold fast to the knowledge that your spirit, empowered by God, is making an impact. You may not always see the results immediately, but trust that your presence is planting seeds, challenging perspectives, and drawing others closer to the truth. Even those who oppose you will be influenced by the Spirit within you, often in ways they do not yet realize. Ultimately, the respect your spirit commands is a reflection of God's presence in your life. It is not something you earn or demand. It is a natural outcome of living in alignment with His will. Walk confidently in this truth, knowing that your life is a testimony of His power, grace, and love. Even in the face of opposition, your spirit will continue to shine, leaving an indelible mark on everyone you encounter. You know you must.